Funding lapses on Capitol Hill did not stop NAFTA renegotiations from happening in Montreal that will ultimately determine the future of hundreds of billions of dollars worth of trade between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. The 3 ports of entry in Nogales are the busiest in the state and one of the leading in the country, processing more than 1,300 trucks a day and yearly about 3 million cars and 7 million people. At the ports of entry in Nogales, Customs and Border Protection oversees about $16 billion worth of NAFTA-qualified goods a year. Another $17 million a year is non-NAFTA trade. Jeff Quern is the import specialist in Nogales.
We're on the commercial facility, the cargo dock. This is where exams occur for those shipments that have been directed to go in for exam. Obviously, not all shipments that cross the border are being examined. We have to use some discretion in what we examine and target, if you will, based off the data that we get prior to arrival, based off the intuition of the officer that's sitting in that primary processing booth, based on agriculture issues. A lot of agriculture is required to come in for mandatory checks for pests and things like that to protect the domestic agriculture in this country.
And 60% of what we see here is related to NAFTA?
Roughly, that's the figure that's been tossed around in the past. It's a logical figure when you consider what is coming across the border. Manufactured goods from maquilas in Mexico in this area, produce from this area. Produce is going to qualify for NAFTA pretty much regardless. Anything that's grown or harvested or mined is going to qualify for NAFTA. Manufactured goods a little more difficult, but yeah, there's a high volume of NAFTA coming through this.
But I mean, it is fair to say this is a byproduct, this expansion, because of NAFTA.
Sure. Well, and it's obvious you have a corridor that speaks to NAFTA. Trade has flourished because of NAFTA in this corridor. There's been a lot of emphasis on this port of entry. This is the largest land border port of entry in Arizona. For obvious reasons, this is the biggest corridor.
Inside the facility, Quern explains how manufactured goods qualify for NAFTA.
This is the document that we use to verify the legitimacy of NAFTA claims, whether the good qualifies or not. This is the document that the trade has to use. Those customs consultants, the importing community, the exporters, everybody that touches NAFTA has to understand the contents of this book.
What sorts of hoops will a broker have to jump through alongside the company in Mexico to become a NAFTA client?
NAFTA is a claim that's made by the importer of record. In order to do that, they have to have a certificate of origin from the exporter of the goods. So if you want to import NAFTA qualifying machinery, for example, from Mexico, you need to find yourself an exporter in Mexico of NAFTA qualified machinery. A lot of times that relationship is one-to-one. It's a U.S. parent company who established a Mexican manufacturing facility, and therefore there is no issue with that. So what I have is an example of an imported good that comes through this port certified for NAFTA. The duty rate, if you're not claiming a special trade agreement, is 5.3% ad valorem, 5.3% of the declared value. So you multiply that by 5.3%, you get the duty that you're going to pay. Now the next question is, okay, I'm getting this from China, I'm paying 5.3% duty. What if I want to import this from Mexico, assuming it qualifies for NAFTA? I'm going to be paying 0% duty. If you want to qualify for NAFTA for this product, you have to have NAFTA originating copper or aluminum wire used in this good.
To get NAFTA's stamp of approval, the producer of the copper wire needs documented proof the copper rod it came from originated in a North American country. It's just one example of how the treaty works. So what happens if a commodity comes through and it does not meet any of the criteria? So what's the penalty?
In this particular case, that's exactly what happened. We had an issue. We asked them to produce documentation, records, that can prove that the cable that was in the NAFTA qualified importations was in fact NAFTA qualifying cable. And they had a problem. They couldn't do that. And so they did the right thing. They said, well, we will assume that none of it was NAFTA qualifying, and they paid us the duties, taxes, and fees as if none of it had been claimed in the NAFTA. That's what responsible companies do. And in exchange for being open with us, then we are less likely to penalize them, for example. If we find out through other means that this has been going on, maybe an employee calls us up and says, hey, we understand there's a problem, I'm making you aware of this, whistleblower or something like that. That's a different scenario. Now we're into negligence, now we're into potential fraud, and they have significant penalties associated with them, depending on the goods.
I imagine you have seen contraband in NAFTA loads or NAFTA packages.
Yes.
So what happens then?
There's basically two scenarios. We have companies who are low risk certified, with Customs. The program is called CTPAT, the Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. It's a product of 9/11. It was a mechanism that we offered to the trade. We said, if you employ these recommended security procedures, CCTV in your facility, vetting of your employees, drug testing, making sure that you use transportation companies who have GPS tracking, who have security of their equipment overnight in the fenced yards, things like that. If you employ all these procedures, we're going to give you a low-risk certification. And what that means is that the information that they provide to us electronically prior to the arrival of the cargo is going to be looked at and scored differently. It's going to be looked at from a low-risk perspective. So in a scenario where you have a compromised shipment involving a low-risk certified company, the rules are a little different. We presume that you have taken the security measures that you had agreed to previously. The CTPAT office at headquarters is going to talk with that company and say, ensure us or prove to us that you had those security measures in place. Tell us what you're going to do to fix that scenario.
Companies that are not CTPAT certified and therefore aren't considered low risk go through a similar process with Customs if one of their shipments is deemed compromised.
The expectation is going to be that you, as a trade party, are going to do the responsible thing and work with us to determine where the problem happened. Was it the transportation company, the driver, allowing the goods to be diverted? Was it the maquila, the manufacturing facility, allowing the goods to be loaded inside their facility? Those sorts of things. So regardless of the scenario, the Customs expectation is that you're going to work with us to solve this problem.
NAFTA is not as simple to understand as many people think that it is. It's not some switch that you can just flip.
I think there's a misconception that NAFTA is just a carte blanche to import goods with zero duty. That's not the case. It's fairly complicated. It was a negotiated program. It has rules. The rules have to be obeyed. If Customs finds out that you have not obeyed those rules, the consequences are pretty severe, depending on the duty rate involved.